New normal sa araw-araw na pamumuhay. Gamitin sensya at teknolohiya sa ating problema ngayong pandemya. New normal! New normal ang programang hitik sa ideya. Kapupulutan ng madaming anay na tutulong para sa ating kinabukasan. New normal!
Welcome to New Normal 101, kung saan sa tulong ng siyensya at teknolohiya, lalabanan natin ang pandemya. Friday na naman mga kaisko at mga kaiska, and New Normal 101 is back for another exciting episode. I am Jeremiah Nataba, and you know guys, if you might just refresh your memory, in the last episode of New Normal 101, we talked about disaster risk reduction together with my co-host, James Denoyo. And of course, our special guest that time, si Professor Mark Timbal. Now guys, if you want to binge watch New Normal 101 episodes, please make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to PUP Create TV's Facebook page and YouTube channel. Now, for today's episode, we will talk about some sort of a sensitive topic in a way, because we will talk about cigarette or tobacco addiction and why we should push for a smoke-free environment as our new normal. Pero syempre, bago natin pag-usapan ang lahat ng yan, let us all welcome back actually, ikaw na naman, James Denoyo. James, how are you?
Hello everyone! Kamusta kayo mga kaisko at iska? Hello ulit sa inyo. Thank you New Normal 101 for having me again for another episode nitong ating programa. Hello sa iyo, Kuya Jem.
Yes, Kuya Jem. Hello. Ikaw na naman. Alright, sige. So now, let's keep the ball rolling, guys. Like I said, our episode for today is about cigarette or tobacco addiction. So, ano nga ba ang tobacco or cigarettes and what makes it addicting? But first, of course, when it comes to smoking cigarettes, aside from yung tropa mo nakakadalawang kaha sa isang araw, ano ba yung unang bagay na pumasok sa ating isipan whenever we talk about these type of subjects? So, of course, andyan yung salita na nicotine. Ano nga ba yung nicotine? Okay? So, nicotine, according to our research, nicotine is the chemical in tobacco that keeps you smoking. Nicotine reaches the brain within seconds of taking a puff. And in the brain, nicotine increases the release of brain chemicals called neurotransmitters, which help regulate mood and behavior. So, in a way, from what we can derive from that, nag-i-improve yung ating mood every time we take a huff. Or a huff from a cigarette or a tobacco. Now, dopamine, isang chemical ito, one of these neurotransmitters na tinatawag, is released in the reward center of the brain and causes feelings of pleasure and improved mood. The more you smoke, the more nicotine you need to feel good. Nicotine quickly becomes part of your daily routine at magiging combined ito sa iyong habits and worst comes to worst, sa iyong nararamdaman, sa iyong feelings. It can affect your daily mood.
Yeah, agree, no? Kaya yung ibang mga tao, parang they cannot live their life without it. And speaking din sa nicotine, meron tayong tinatawag na nicotine dependence. From the word itself, this is when smokers become highly dependent to nicotine or smoking because of the reasons that Jeremiah mentioned a while ago, no? Anyone who smokes or uses other forms of tobacco is at risk of becoming dependent to it. So, maraming factors na tayong kino-consider for being nicotine dependent. Kabilang dyan, of course, yung age, yung ating genetics, yung parents natin, issues or concerns like depression and substance use, no? All these things can cause smokers to be likely dependent to nicotine and ultimately become addicted to it. Kanina sabi ko yung age, no? Most people begin smoking during childhood, so bata pa, no? Or during teen years. The younger you are when you begin smoking, the greater the chance that you will become addicted to it. The earlier the exposure. Yung another one is yung genetics naman. Likelihood that namana natin siya. Genetic factors may influence how receptors on the surface of your brain brain's nerve cells respond to high doses of nicotine delivered by all these cigarettes. Kasama rin sa factors sa tinitignan natin ay yung parents and peers. Bakit? Children who grow up with parents who smoke are more likely to become smokers. Nakikita sa set example. Also, yung mga kabataan na kasamang kanilang mga kaibigan na naninigarilyo, most likely ay subukan, no? Ma-influensyahan na gawin or subukan din yung paninigarilyo. Another factor, this is very saddening, depression and other mental illness. Itong depression and mental illness, merong mga study na nagpapakita ng relationship ng depression or other mental illnesses to smoking. No, people who have depression, schizophrenia, post-traumatic stress disorder, other forms of mental illnesses are more likely to be smokers. And lastly, yung substance abuse. Ano nga ba yung epekto nito? Yung mga tao na gumagamit ng mga substance, alcohol or marijuana, whatever, or illegal drugs are more likely to be smokers. Minsan nga nagiging partner na siya ng mga substances na ito.
Yeah, I agree, James. So if you notice mga kaisla, there are a lot of factors that contribute to one being addicted to smoking cigarettes and smoking tobacco or whatever. Kasi of course, hindi lang naman, there are some things na wala sa control natin, and then there are some things na nasa control naman ng individual para sila maging addict sa ganitong bagay. So let's not streamline it na, okay, pag smoker ng isang tao, just to be clear lang guys, pag smoker ng isang tao, okay, so that means ganito siya. Let's not stereotype everyone. Everybody's having their own problems. Everybody has their own battles to face. So let's not judge someone very quickly because of what they're doing or their activities na, you know, na mukhang hindi ka nais-nais sa mata ng lipunan. So yun lang, let's just get it out of there. Kasi there are a lot of contributing factors, aggravating factors as to why people are doing this and why it came to be. So yeah, moving on. But still, once you start becoming dependent, you know, to nicotine and smoking cigarettes and all that, it is only a matter of time, guys, until the health issues kick in, and you know, before it's too late, you'll just hear death knocking at your door. Did you guys know that tobacco smoke contains more than 16 known cancer-causing chemicals and thousands of other harmful substances? Tulad ng alam nating lahat na ang mga naninigarilyo ay, well, most likely to develop, their condition will most likely develop and eventually die of certain diseases kaysa sa mga taong hindi naninigarilyo. But ano nga ba yung mga nagkakos, yung mga nagiging epekto ng paninigarilyo sa ating katawan? So here are just a few. Number one being lung cancer and lung disease. It's very prevalent sa mga taong naninigarilyo. I think smoking is the leading cause of lung cancer deaths according to our research. In addition, smoking can actually cause lung diseases such as emphysema, if I pronounce it correctly, I'm sorry if I'm butchering the pronunciation, and chronic bronchitis. Smoking can also make asthma worse. So yung mga may asthma dyan, try to avoid smoking kasi it'll get worse until it develops into a new not a medical practitioner, but baka kasi mamaya maging mas malala sakit ito kumpara sa meron tayo ngayon. Of course, it's not only streamlined to lung cancer alone, but there are other cancers that can form out of smoking addiction. There's also cancer of the mouth, cancer of the throat, of the esophagus, larynx, the bladder, the pancreas, the kidney, so on and so forth. It goes on and on and on. Not only cancer we're talking about, but we're also talking about heart and circulatory system problems. Did you know that smoking can actually increase your risk of dying of heart and blood vessel disease, including heart attacks and most commonly ngayon dahil medyo mainit, strokes. If you have heart or blood vessel disease such as heart failure, smoking can actually worsen your condition. Smoking can also contribute to having eye problems. Smoking can increase your risk of serious eye problems such as catarata and loss of eyesight in some scenarios from macular degeneration, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. And aside from that, well, this is a bit of a tough illness or tough side effect to actually come to terms with, but smoking can actually cause infertility and impotence sa mga lalaki sa mga babae. Smoking can increase the risk of reduced fertility in women and the risk of impotence in men. And of course, physically speaking, it can also cause tooth and gum disease. Ang paninigarilyo ay usually associated with an increased risk of developing inflammation of the gum and a serious gum infection that can destroy the support system for teeth. So, ganun ka-grabe, ganun ka-extreme yung maaaring maging repercussions kapag naging addict tayo or dependent tayo sa paninigarilyo.
Ang dami, no? Parang ang dami niyang bad effects sa natin, sa health natin. And of course, that is very important to prioritize. And I don't think marami sa mga kabataan natin who early on ay nakasubok na or naging addicted na sa smoking, no? I don't think they realize this harmful effects sa kanilang mga katawan. And also, just for other people's for these people's information, globally yung tobacco po, it kills more than 8 million people each year from direct use and exposure to second-hand smoke. Syempre hindi lang naman din direktang smoker ang hinaharm niyan, pati yung mga tao who inhales the second-hand smoke. Locally sa Pilipinas, there are 16.6 million Filipino adult tobacco users. And in 2011, from ages 13 to 15, nalumobo in 2015 to 16%. So that is in total for about like 2.3% increase in 4 years, no? Moreover, we already heard about e-cigs. Usong-uso na yun, yung mga vape thing, no? Alam na natin yan. Merong 11.7 of them already tried and experimented itong device natin. For the past decade, the Philippines has made great strides in implementing policy reforms that aim to at least reduce the burden of tobacco use sa ating mga Pilipino. Aside from tax measure, the government successfully pushed for the legislation of several non-tax policies and population level interventions to address the threat of tobacco usage. This include the Executive Order 106 series of 2020, which complements to Republic Act 11467 or the alcohol and e-cig taxes by expanding the coverage of the public smoking ban in public places, including yung paggamit ng mga e-cigarettes.
Yeah, I remember when that was an issue sa mga nag-vape then. Yeah, I can vaguely remember that time of the year. But yeah, in a way, buti na nga lang at may mga, unti-unti nagkakaroon tayo ng mga batas na pagsuporta sa pagtaas ng presyo ng mga sigarilyo at alak. I think it's personally speaking, I think it's a sort of a great strategy to limit people from buying or subscribing to these vices. Tama ba? Vices? Yun ang plural nun. Vices. To these vices. Lalong-lalo na ngayon, especially now that the whole world is facing, and actually still facing talaga, still battling, us in the Philippines barely battling COVID-19, which as we all know is a novel disease known primarily to attack the lungs. So, it's not gonna, smoking cigarettes will not help to improve our health conditions, lalo na kung meron tayong pandemic talaga na kinakaharap ngayon na primarily attacks the respiratory system. So it's gonna be, if you really want to speed run death, that's a good way to go. Yeah, but anyway, so I think now more than ever, it is imperative, it is very important that effective tobacco control legislations are instituted or are integrated in the local government to protect the health of Filipinos, especially now during the pandemic. Wouldn't you agree, James?
Agree, no? Pero of course, itong mga policies na to, mga legislation na ito are meant to prohibit people or at least reduce the urge for them to consume tobacco materials. But we have also to put in mind that we should not only limit people from buying and consuming tobacco, but we should also make sure to promote safe and smoke-free spaces. That's why our next segment, Excited Tayo, we will talk about the importance of smoke-free environment and why this should be implemented. So if you guys want to find out more about it, stay tuned, mga kaisko and mga kaiska.
Yeah. Very, very true, James. Please Okay, parang TV lang huwag niyo ililipat sa ibang channel. But yeah, we'll see you after this break. Stay tuned guys, dahil dito sa New Normal 101, modern tayo.
Sinkhole sa Taal, Batangas na mataan matapos ang magnitude 6.6 na lindol sa lugar noong nakaraang Sabado ay 24 ng Hulyo. Nag-iwan ng malalim na hukay at pinsala sa isang parte ng Barangay Lagile, Taal, Batangas ang nasabing lindol eksaktong alas 7 ng umaga ng Sabado. Pinag-aaralan pa ng Philippine Institute of Volcanology and Seismology o PHIVOLCS kung ano ang naging sanhi nito. Agad namang lumikas sa mga residenteng pamilya na naninirahan malapit sa pinag-usbungan ng sinkhole. Samantala, ibinaba na ng PHIVOLCS sa Alert Level 2 ang Bulkang Taal kung saan inaasahan pa rin ang pagkakaroon ng biglaang pagputok ng steam o phreatic explosions, volcanic earthquakes at manipis na ashfall. Patuloy na pinag-iingat ang mga residente sa lalawigan ng Batangas. Ako si Georgia Alcala para sa The Observer Flash Online.
Welcome back to New Normal 101 with me and of course my partner, James Denoyo. Now guys, I hope that the previous segment was an eye-opener for all the smokers out there. And for those of you who are planning on smoking your first cigar, dahil hindi lang kalusugan natin ang naapektuhan ng paninigarilyo, kundi pati na rin ang mga tao sa paligid natin through second-hand smoking.
That is right. Totally right, Jem, no? Kaya for this segment, excited tayo dahil pag-uusapan natin ang smoke-free environment at kung bakit dapat ito may patupad now more than ever. For today's episode, we have invited a very special guest. He is the legal consultant of Health Justice Philippines who empower Filipinos to make healthy choices. Mga kaisko at kaiska, atin pong i-welcome Attorney Ben Nisperos.
Hi Attorney Ben, good morning.
Hi, good morning Jem and James. Good morning to our listeners and viewers, mga kaisko at iska. Magandang umaga sa ating lahat.
There we go. So Attorney Ben, we always ask this question sa mga guests namin here sa New Normal 101. So the question is, Attorney Ben, ano ba ang inyong new normal ngayong pandemic?
From the point of view of the advocacy, smoke-free is the new normal. It's our language now, no? That we have to protect our health and we have to be abreast with what's happening around us and follow health protocols. That's the new normal. But personally, I actually transferred my home base here in the province. I'm actually live now from La Union. So I'm near my province and that's my new normal. Going to the beach whenever I have time and just working from home. That's the new normal for me.
Wow. Well, I'm sorry, nainggit ako bigla. Like, you can just go to the beach anytime you want for as long as merong parang bakanting oras. Nakainggit naman.
Nice.
You can come over
Ben.
if you want to join us here.
Wala bang ano dyan, sir? Wala bang vaccine restriction? Kasi sa Baguio, di ba, meron tayong parang mga health protocols na sinusunod. We have to have ourselves vaccinated or kailangan may swab test muna. Pero sa La Union ho ba, kumaga ano lang, you can come as you please?
I think they also have strict protocols because of the new variants that are going around. Kaya kailangan pa rin mag-follow ng protocols. But anyhow, if you really intend to coming, you can come visit. Just message me.
Thank you so
Anyway,
much.
so yeah.
Nice one. We all look forward to that time na we can go dyan sa place nyo, Sir Attorney Ben sa La Union. Pero kanina, going back, na-discuss natin in the previous segment ang nicotine independence and the health problems caused by prolonged tobacco use. But what some people may not know is that the secondhand smoking is just as deadly as the first-hand smoking. To prevent secondhand smoking, a smoke-free environment should be implemented, most especially in universities and schools, where this habit can be distracting and dare I say, enticing, lalo na kapag nakikita mo ang mga kaibigan mo na nagbabond through smoking sessions during their break. Mahirap din talagang maiwasan at mainggit. And according to DOH, smoke-free refers to a ban on smoking which provides effective protection from environmental tobacco smoke or the second-hand smoke. Attorney Ben, can you share to us the importance of a smoke-free environment in every public places, most importantly in schools and universities?
Okay, it's very important, no, because it's your first line of protection if you're not a smoker, but you're exposed to the harms of smoke by those who smoke. And if I may, I would include mga vape na rin because they have almost the same harm, right? So vaping and smoking. So it's very important because as you have said a while ago, smoking has different effects. It's the first-hand smoke and then the second-hand smoke where you're exposed to smoker, and then even the third-hand smoker, even though there are no smokers and the smokers have not been around in the area, then you get to be exposed in another area. That's third-hand smoke. In terms of protection, large part of our society are non-smokers. There are only about 22 to 23% of smokers in the Philippines. I don't know the latest statistics, but that's about that. And you see, 80% should be protected from those who are not smoking. And globally, there's already a consensus that smoking and the effects of second-hand and third-hand smokes are deadly to us.
I see. Sir, nabanggit niyo
Yes,
kanina.
tama, no? So,
okay. Yeah, sorry. New normal.
go ahead.
Pero, Attorney, you mentioned kanina yung about sa, I know this is a topic for later, pero siguro mas maganda pasadahan natin ng very slight lang, yung regarding dun sa almost same effects ng vape saka ng cigarettes. Pero kasi ako medyo, I don't smoke, so I'm a little bit ignorant sa mga ganyan topic. So if I may ask, Attorney, is vape, well, relatively speaking to cigarette smoking, is vape relatively safer to use ba? Or is
actually that's the nomenclature that we want to debunk. Yun yung ayaw nating ipalaganap, that there's a connotation that it is safer. Safer meaning there's an assumption that there's a safe alternative to smoking. There's none. Yeah. Okay. Even the other nomenclature that they are saying that it is less harmful. Even if you say that it is less harmful, there's still the word harmful. And any harm, masama yan sa kalusugan, masama yan sa iyong katawan. So it's like many in our guestings or in our speeches, in our conferences, we always say that it's like comparing from jumping from the 100th floor of a building comparing to a 50th floor. Diba? If you jump, both of them jump, mamamatay pa rin sila. Those are the the practical comparison of smoking and vaping. Because you see, vaping is still a derivative of a tobacco because of nicotine coming from tobacco, right? And nicotine, as we know, is an addictive product. It's one of the hazardous products listed by the Food and Drug Administration. And with that alone, we know for a fact, and global studies, objective science, have been saying that these are really harmful to your body. Later siguro we can expound on that when we talk about vaping.
Sure, Attorney. I have to commend yung analogy of jumping to the 100th floor to the 50th floor. I found that very enlightening. Okay, James, please.
I'm sure hindi lang din yung ating kalusugan. Kanina we were talking about nicotine dependence and other health-related effect nito, no? So, I'm sure hindi lang naman yung ating health or yung kalusugan ng at risk, Attorney Ben, dahil smoking in general is a form of pollution and it also endangers the health of our environment. Sir, would you like to tell us paano po ba naapektuhan negatively ng excessive tobacco smoking ng ating environment?
Okay. Of course, the particulate coming from the smoke contains different hazardous chemicals, and then these hazardous chemicals, when they combine with, for example, the fresh air or the regular air that we breathe, that would affect our lung system, mainly our respiratory system. And going back to the discussion of smoke-free, the concept of smoke-free from the perspective of the anti-smoking or tobacco control advocate is that smoke-free should be a protection against smoking in public, smoking in workplaces, for example, smoking in schools, smoking in tourism destinations, and smoking in public places in general, where two or more people converge. Doon dapat smoke-free. You have to protect, always and always, you have to protect others, the majority actually, who are not smokers. And largely because of the ill effects of smoking to the environment, once there's a smoker in a certain environment, whether it's like a green environment, a closed environment, an open environment, you endanger yourself from having to be one of the statistics of deaths, or one of the statistics of those having the top 5, I think, of the causes of deaths here in the Philippines and globally. Smoking pa rin yan, or smoking related disease pa rin yung top diseases that kill our citizens in the world.
It's very alarming. Well, it's in a way, it's sort of good to know na especially in this program na ganun kalala talaga yung magiging epekto ng paninigarilyo. It's one of the top contributors of death among Filipinos. So mga kaiska, please take good note of what attorney is saying. So yeah, moving forward, I think cigarette addiction is probably again the most common and most problematic form of addiction nationwide, or probably dare I say worldwide pa nga. According to a research from the tobaccofreekids.org kasi, among adults who are aged 15 and above that make up 23.8% of Filipinos, they actually use tobacco products. This age range, as we know, make up mostly high school and university students. Siyempre, ang pag-high school students, bawal na bawal talaga ang paninigarilyo because it is illegal to purchase or consume tobacco until you are 18 years old. But mga kaiska, pagdating naman sa university students as adults, well, you guys are allowed to smoke. Sa PUP, meron naman talagang smoking areas close to the campus, but not in the campus, close to the campus. But just like any other schools or university among others, you're not allowed to smoke inside the campus premises. So with that said, Attorney Ben, ano po ba ang magiging negative effects naman ng tobacco smoking inside university campuses?
What we want to prevent among students and the youth, for example, is their initiation to smoking. If you see another barkada or a senior, for example, who smokes, you somehow get curious, right? And somehow you tend to get invited even a positive action from the smokers.
Peer pressure.
That's it. Peer pressure for you to try it, and that's what we want to prevent. That many more youngsters or youth to trying this product. We want them to avoid using these products because once you get into it, as you said a while ago, it's an addicting. So it has an addicting substance, which is nicotine, and it becomes a habit for some. And once you're in it, you're using it, it's harder to get out. Like, it's easy to get addicted, but it's harder to get out. And that's what we want to protect, because the tobacco industry would always lure in new users of their products. Because if you get addicted to the product, you're a lifelong supporter of the product. You're a lifelong contributor to the profits of the tobacco industry. And that's how how cigarettes and vape products are designed. They're designed to hook you in, and for you to maintain that addiction, you have to buy and buy the product. And going back to your question, how students are affected, that's it. It affects your brain development, as I said a while ago. There are contents of smoking, especially nicotine, for example, and other chemicals in smoking that affect brain development. And brain development happens until the age of 25 or mid-20s. So that's why we wanted to prevent access and exposure to these products, to these harmful products, those 25 years old below, because we want to protect their brain development, so that at the end of the day, they can freely choose what they want to do. They are not hooked into an addictive substance, and that they are free from the harms of smoking and vaping.
Thank you so much, Attorney Ben. Now, I know medyo siguro I feel mag-overtime tayo, pero I'm really curious lang talaga to ask this attorney. Have you ever encountered siguro in your illustrious career as a legal consultant, have you ever encountered someone who is against banning cigarettes or tobaccos inside the campuses? what did they say kung if ever naka-encounter ho kayo?
The debate would always be privacy right, the right to privacy, which is the right to use the product wherever you want, right to use cigarette or vape wherever you want, and the right to health. That's always the debate. And those who are advocating for the right to privacy or the right to decide for what they want to do with themselves is that they want to use the products wherever, whenever, right?
Okay.
Which we don't want to happen. We want to protect the right to health. In our constitution, sa ating batas, even in our constitution, there's right to health is enshrined. Nandun yung karapatan mo para sa kalusugan. Pero wala doon yung karapatan mo for smoking. Okay? Need to be clear. Because some of the smokers would say, karapatan din namin mag-smoke. Yeah, you have that right. But ang konsepto ng ating karapatan is that your right has limits when it affects the exercise of another right, for example. So, your right to privacy, your right to use or to smoke or to vape ends when you affect the health of others. That's it. That's the balancing that they say. But you don't balance. You always tilt towards the right to health. Mas importante ang kalusugan because you have to think that what if lahat na tayo addicted to the product, right? How will we protect our nation? How will we move forward if you have a sickly population, if you have an addicted population? That should be the debate about it.
I agree. Thank you so much for clarifying, Attorney Ben. Sorry, James, please.
It's actually kanina in-observe ko nga yung yung sinasabi ni Attorney Ben kanina about the effects of smoking to students, especially in universities. Attorney Ben, please share and enlighten our kaisko and kaiska who are watching right now why a smoke-free environment should be implemented in university and campuses like ours, Polytechnic University of the Philippines.
Well, for one, the university is the center of discourse. It's also the center of youth activities, right? So if you want to protect your future, you want to ensure that your future is healthy and your children and the youth are healthy. In that sense, if we promote smoke-free environment where nasa batas naman talaga na bawal mag-smoke sa mga schools, that protects our future. That ensures that our children will have the right mind to think for themselves, will have the time to develop themselves and not be affected by an addictive substance. Yun yung importante, that we equip our students, our youth, the concept of giving importance to the right to health, and that they decide for themselves what is healthy for them. Mm-hmm. And we have to protect them by imposing smoke-free policies in schools so that they're not exposed to unhealthy or harmful environment. I think that's very important to ensure a better future for everyone.
Okay, thank you so much, Attorney Ben. I think it was also highlighted kanina sa previous questions na I mean, in order for us to kumbaga hindi ma-impede or magkaroon ng challenges or ng problema sa mental growth ng isang tao edad ano ba yung 50? Edad 15 pataas, I think mas mahalaga na to keep them away from these type of vices. So thank you so much, Attorney Ben, for doing that. Okay, I know we're over time, pero that concludes our second segment. Huwag kayong maglala mga kaiska dahil we will be back for more. Because in our next segment, we will learn more about why cigarettes are popular among students and the nationwide endemic of using vapes and e-cigarettes. More of that when we return after this short break. So stay tuned, everyone. Dahil dito, modern tayo.
Advertising and Public Relations student ng Sintang Paaralan kabilang sa 100 mga delegada na susubok sungkitin ng corona ng Miss Universe Philippines 2021. Si Janela Bintura ay isang sophomore student mula sa Department of Advertising and Public Relations. Sa edad na 20 ay nakapaglathala na ng libro na may pamagat na Warm Blankets in Cold Midnight. Si Ventura at ang 79 na delegada na pumasa para sa paunang screening ng Miss Miss Universe Philippines ay maglalaban upang mairepresenta ang Pilipinas sa darating na Miss Universe pageant sa Disyembre at hahalili kay Miss Universe Philippines 2020 Rabia Mateo. Ang advokasya ni Ventura ay nakasentro sa pagtulong sa mga batang may malubhang karamdaman gaya ng sakit na cancer.
Phenomenal beauty talaga yung meron sa kanya. And also, ginagamit niya yung music, yung pagsusulat niya, yung pagmamodel niya, and yung arts to inspire.
Mula sa 100 delegada ay 30 lamang rito ang magpapatuloy sa live competitions at coronation night na gaganapin sa Setyembre. Para masuportahan si Janela Ventura para makapasok sa Final 30 ay maaaring i-download ang Miss Universe Philippines app para sa eksklusibong access at para makaboto online. Ako si Richard de Guzman para sa The Observer Flash Online.
Alright, welcome back everyone to New Normal 101. Now in our previous segment, we talked about why a smoke-free environment should be implemented in universities and campuses. Now for this segment naman, pag-usapan naman natin kung bakit nga ba napaka-popular, napaka-sikat, napaka-in, napaka-uso ng smoking among teenagers. Not only here in the Philippines, but also around the world. Just to be fair, it's a worldwide thing.
Tama, no? Tama ka dyan, Jeremiah. Talaga naman na nagiging hobby na ang paninigarilyo ng mga kabataan ngayon. Kaya talaga mga kabataan kayo. Attorney Ben. Attorney Ben. Attorney Ben, bakit nga ba hindi maiwasan ng kabataan ang paninigarilyo at bakit napaka-popular nito, especially sa mga estudyante?
For one, it's a product that is introduced at the stage na kung saan yung mga kabataan are curious and are looking for acceptance, validation, or even are undergoing peer pressure, as we said a while ago. So it's popular because a large part or a part of the community, kung nasan yung mga kabataan, are using it. It's also popular because on the side of the supply, ibig sabihin the tobacco industry. The tobacco industry has been very aggressive in marketing its product to teens or even younger ones in order for them to be the sustaining clients of the tobacco industry. And how do they do it? They market their products to be hip, to be in. They use celebrities, even though there's a law that prevents them from that. They use insidiously social media. Insidiously meaning talagang intent to circumvent the law na mag-advertise through social media na sinasabing parang pinapagamit sa mga celebrities and endorsing these products, no? Both cigarettes and vape products. Even in flavoring, the tobacco industry knows that flavoring entices the youth in using these products, especially on vapes. In vapes, there are about more than 12,000, I think, or 15,000 flavors that were produced. Oh. Can you imagine? And how were this produced? There are independent sellers of vapes or e-cigarettes who make new flavors every now and then just to entice the youth, just to sustain them as clients of this. So it's really both from the demand side, meaning the users, there's peer pressure, that's the stage where they're curious, they wanted to use it, and then that's the stage also that they're exposed to the products, especially to their parents, to their older peers, and to their classmates. And then from the supply side, it's the tobacco industry that really intended to market it to the youth, for them to be the sustaining factor of the industry.
Thank you, Attorney Nos. Siguro just to go back lang dun sa sinabi niyo kanina, yung regarding sa supply side. Kumbaga, the tobacco industry are doing everything they can para ma-market yung kanilang products. Pero recently kasi, since my mom and dad ho kasi at Attorney, they own a sari-sari store. So nakikita ko yung kanilang mga tinitindang sigarilyo. And I noticed na sa kanilang mga packaging ngayon ng mga sigarilyo, may mga parang hazard signs na, mga parang warning na, and then mga gruesome images of the health effects of smoking. So if I may just ask, is that something that, well, I think it goes without saying, pero siguro just kind of confirm na lang, Attorney Ben, no? Is that something that siguro, kumbaga parang panibagong panukala ba yun or batas na kailangan may ganung imahe sa casing ng bawat sigarilyo at sa bawat lalaganan ng sigarilyo?
Yeah, we call that graphic health warning, and globally that's the best practice in terms of preventing users or warning users of the effects of the products. However, again, the industry somehow try to circumvent it by trying to like cover the easy conspicuousness, if you may call it, na madali siya makita. So the industry tried to prevent, to have that so that it's not easy to see, and it's even not so gruesome na, no? Because I heard that they tried to question what's the photos or the graphic health warning that are included. There's a global movement also in terms of plain packaging. Ibig sabihin, plain packaging na lang lahat ng mga sigarilyo. So there's no, parang nawawala yung marketing side nun, because cigarettes would be under a same packaging, plain packaging, while at the same time maintaining the textual or even graphical warning, if you may so.
Okay, so parang ano lang, talagang plain lang siya, like there's nothing literally there. I see. Okay.
Dapat i-market yung product. Dapat hindi mina-market yung product. Well, there are many people are saying that we should just stop production, pero it's a bigger debate on that matter. That fact. Pero as of now, what we want to do is to prevent prevalence or pagkalat or pagdami ng mga gumagamit. And one of the things to do that is really to control both sides, to regulate both sides, yung supply and then the demand. The demand in terms of preventing the exposure of mga kabataan nga, yung pinag-usapan natin kanina. And then the supply, you regulate the industry, because as much as possible, they want to increase their profits. And they do whatever they think they can. And we have to prevent that.
Correct. Tama. Now, going back to the previous thing that you said, aside from the marketing, but also yung mga peer pressure na ganyan, I really do think that most teens and students are peer pressured or are pressured to try smoking, especially when you see your friends doing it. Syempre, ang thinking kasi ng mga kabataan, parang di ako bata magsalita, pero ang thinking kasi ng mga kabataan, hindi mo maiwasan na parang ma-curious, ma-entice to try it out for yourself. Pero yun nga, like you said before, attorney, teens and or students probably, in a way, I think they don't understand the long-term consequences and effects of smoking, which is from the images that we keep seeing online and even in packaging. I think it's not only mildly concerning, but it's very concerning to begin with. Diba, James?
Agree ako. Hindi lang yan, Jeremiah, attorney, no? I think isang factor din ng stress, especially among students. Sabi nga nila, smoking is somewhat of a stress reliever. Attorney Ben, bakit nga ba nakaka-relieve ng stress ang smoking?
It's a misconception. Well, we know that cigarettes contain nicotine, and nicotine stimulates the brain to release dopamine, which is a chemical associated with pleasurable feelings. And as a smoker, you need more and more levels of that nicotine to sustain that. And of course, if you go on doing that, lahat ng sobra and lahat ng continuous na ginagawa mo, once you get addicted, that's the problem. And then when that dopamine level drops, so nagkakaroon ka na ng craving, and then you get to be within that cycle, and it's harder to get out. And that misconception is what these kids are saying na, nakaka-relieve ng stress. No, it's a cycle that you get into just because of how your brain works because of nicotine. And that's what we don't want to happen, because it's harder for you to get out of it, because once you're addicted to it, you get to use it, you're exposed to the other chemicals that are in these products, yung mga formaldehyde, yung mga nakakos ng cancer, yung nakakos ng heart diseases, respiratory diseases, all this. Because yung inisip mo lang is yung relief mo from stress, but you're not thinking of the effects of these chemicals to other parts of your body. Yun yung dapat na consideration. Because as I said a while ago, the top causes of deaths in the Philippines are related to smoking.
Okay, sir. So, yung pag-smoke kayo, yung mga ganyan, yung mga nicotine, yung effects sa brain, I think it can be considered sort of as a, ano ba yung tawag doon? Placebo effect? Tama ho ba ako? Or mali ba ako doon? Sa ganun. Like, this is just a placebo?
Well,
Sige, please.
Well, because there's pag placebo kasi, but you tend to feel something even though there's nothing, right? In this one, it really has an active chemical, which is nicotine, which helps the brain release dopamine, which is yun nga, pleasure, yung nafe-feel mo. And that's when you feel like, less stress. But, you know, you as I said a while ago, you relieve yourself from stress momentarily, but you're also gaining the harmful effects of the products and causing you different diseases, diba? It's cancerous, maraming nang mamamatay because of smoking, diba? And it affects your heart, maraming inflamed or ailments in the heart, sa lalong-lalo na yung respiratory system, especially now that there's COVID, diba? COVID is like, it attacks your respiratory system. And then, sabi na nga ng WHO, ng World Health Organization, smoking and vaping increases your risk of having COVID, and it increases the risk it's a risk factors in terms of the effects of COVID to your body. Because of course, if you have COVID, you have to have high immunity, di ba? And then we know that smoking and its harmful products, including vaping, lowers your immunity because it also targets your lungs and other parts of your body. To be clear, and just a clear message also to the viewers. Yeah. Smoking and vaping are risk factors for COVID-19.
Those are very good inputs, attorney. Thank you so much. Kaya pala smokers keep wanting more because nicotine boosts and relieves their moods in a way. But keep in mind, mga kais ka, as what attorney has said, the stress relief is only temporary, but the effects, they're permanent, guys. They're permanent and they're scary to begin with. That's why smokers tend to crave more, thus leading to addiction. So, Attorney Ben, ngayon na we have an idea, na alam na natin kung paano natitrick ng nicotine ang minds natin to become dependent to using it. Ano naman po kaya may advice ninyo sa mga naninigarilyo, sa mga smokers na gustong iwan yung ganung buhay pero hindi nila kaya. They're having some challenges living that lifestyle. Ano kaya magandang advice for them?
For one, there has to be a conscious decision for you to quit, and you have to quit cold turkey or quit as soon as possible. You know, hindi yung paisa-isa lang, ngayon 10, bukas siyam. No, it's really deciding that today I'm going to quit because I love myself. I still want to enjoy life and maybe enjoy my time with my family, my loved ones, and quitting cold turkey. If you have the resources, you can try nicotine replacement therapy. No? That one kasi, for some nahirapan mag-quit because may mga complications na nanginginig sila, nagpapalpitate, and all those side effects of quitting. That's expected because you're an addict. So it's a part of the process that your mind is adjusting to nicotine drop. Ano? And then kung may nicotine therapy ka naman, that's replacement therapy, that also helps you transition to a nicotine-free status. And then maybe you consult with friends, especially those who have quit from smoking. And we have actually government quit lines. The DOH, the Department of Health, has a quit line. I'm not so sure of the number because I think they changed it. But if you're around Lung Center of the Philippines, there's a number that you could check by their gateway, by their gate, so you can see that. Or you can even Google. And local governments, ibig sabihin yung mga syudad, mga munisipyo, probinsya, they also have quit lines supposedly because that's part of the ordinances that were implemented in terms of the smoke-free ordinances, and mga smoke-free task forces and mga smoke-free line. And then, be more healthy. Be conscious in terms of becoming healthy, like doing exercises, kasi you have to train your mind that it has to be occupied by other things, not just your craving, di ba? You have to address that. These are and then there are options of other exercises or habits that you could delve into, and as stated by different researches by our medical experts, may mga physical activities lead you into a better perspective, and also it keeps you away from thinking about your addiction. So going back, it's really a conscious decision, and kung nagdesisyon ka, you have to stand by it. And you know what, kahit isang araw, 2 araw, 3 araw na pag-quit, it has a long-term effect on your health na agad-agad. I'm not sure about the science, but it adds to the number of days of extending your life. Even minutes of not smoking, it eases na you yourself.
Progress is progress, ika nga. So, I think meron tanong si James na gustong malaman din ng mga ibang mga kabataan. So, James.
Of course, yes. Kasi kanina, when I was listening kay Attorney Ben, discussing, there are plenty ways pala to do an alternative to resist tobacco cravings. I'm curious, Attorney Ben, and I'm sure lahat din ng viewers natin, if it's true, kanina napasandahan na natin to, if e-cigarettes ba can be less harmful alternative for traditional tobacco?
Again, we have to correct that misconception. E-cigarettes are not less harmful. They are not safer. Ulit-ulitin ko, it's not less harmful and it's not safer. They have a harmful effect to your body. Well, why? Because they are from the same derivative, which is tobacco. Tobacco kasi e-cigarettes have e-juice na tinatawag, and it mainly has nicotine, which is an addictive and harmful substance. And then cigarillo, yung tobacco leaf that we usually see and we're familiar with. But still, they are of the same derivative, and both have nicotine, and nicotine is harmful to your body. Magkaiba lang nung proseso, nung pag-consume, paggamit. Vaping is hiniheat yung juice na nagiging vapor, di ba? And then, cigarillo, binaburn. And then there's another one, heated tobacco product, which is heating pa rin, but it's a compact tobacco and mas konti yung kanyang smoke. And all these products are harmful. And there are many studies. You can Google kung naman tayo, di ba? Mga Google generation tayo. Nakiki-generation. And the Google generation, you can search for the objective science about it. And tip lang on that, because the industry is also very active in producing their own science, the tobacco industry and the vape industry. And they would always release this science daw na supporting their claim. But there's objective science, and then there's industry science. And we know for a fact from the advocacy that this industry science, itong mga to, sila rin yung nag-sponsor ng study. Kilala nila yung gumawa, spokesperson nila yung gumawa, researcher nila yung gumawa, or naging empleyado nila dati na naging parang independent na daw, or currently na ni-empleyo nila. Kaya yon.
I see. Okay. So there you have it, guys. I don't think Attorney Ben and us here at New Normal 101 can stress enough na regardless if it's e-cigarettes, vape, or cigarettes or tobacco, whatever, it's still harmful to you guys. So please try to avoid it. So yeah, it may have less harmful chemicals in it, but it's still, nonetheless, it is still very dangerous. The way I see it, because of e-cigarettes and vapes being readily available everywhere and in different flavors pa nga, mas lalo pang na-entice sa mga kabataan dito. Wouldn't you agree, James?
Tama, Jeremiah. Kahit anong flavor man ng e-cigarettes yan, guys, or vape, ang bilhin natin, it still contains many harmful chemicals that can put your health to risk with continuous and excessive use. Now, for our last segment, isa na namang call a friend session ang magaganap. Kaya stay tuned mga kaisko at kaiska, dahil dito, modern tayo.
Alumnus ng Sintang Paaralan itinilaga bilang bagong Vice President ng Philippine National Bank. Si Ginoong Eugene A. Tamayo III ay nagtapos ng kanyang bachelor's degree sa kursong Office Administration noong 1999 at tinuloy ang kanyang master's degree in Business Administration na nagtapos sa taong 2019 sa PUP Main Campus. Bago matalaga bilang bagong Assistant Vice President, nagsilbi si Tamayo bilang Senior Manager at Division Head ng Philippine National Bank mula 2009 hanggang nitong Hunyo taong kasalukuyan. Kilala ang Philippine National Bank o PNB bilang kauna-unahang universal bank at ika-4 na pinakamalaking privately owned commercial bank sa Pilipinas. Nasasabik ang Sintang Paaralan matunghayan ng paglago at kahusayan ng iba pang mga scholar ng bayan sa isa sa pinakatanyag na institusyong pampinansyal ng bansa.
Ako si Limuel Baruela para sa The Observer Flash Online.
Welcome back mga kaisko at mga kaiska, and thank you for staying with us until the very last segment. For this segment, 3 PUPians na naman ang inimbitahan namin para magtanong sa ating special guest tungkol sa tobacco smoking and the implementation of a smoke-free environment in universities and school campuses.
This segment is called Call a Friend. So if you are looking on your screen right now, we have 3 themes available. So the themes are 1, Smoke the Third. 2nd is Ban Mo To. And the last one is I Don't Feel Good.
Yes, that's correct, James. And let's keep the ball rolling, guys. For our first theme, we have Smoking the Third. Let's hear it from our first PUPian.
Marami ang familiar sa second-hand smoking, including myself. Pero hindi alam ng iba na meron din tinatawag na third-hand smoking. As a professional in this field, pwede niyo pa bang i-explain kung ano ang third-hand smoking at ano ang pagkakaiba nito sa second-hand smoking?
Alright, thank you for that question, dear student, dear Ska of PUP. Third-hand smoking is what we refer to as the smoke that you get to be exposed into by being in an environment where smokers are in. Even though you were not there when there was an active smoker, and then you came into that environment, then you get to be exposed to the harms of smoking. How do we say this? Kunwari, yung nasa waiting area kayo, sa airport man, sa passenger areas, even sa restaurants kapag nagkakalinya ka, tapos diba nag-smoke inaalaw yung smoker dun sa area, dun sa waiting area.
Yeah.
Tapos umalis yung smoker, and then after some time, pumasok ka, then you're exposed to the third-hand smoking. Because while you were not there, during the active smoking of that smoker, hindi ka nagiging second smoker when it was second-hand smoker, when it was happening, you were exposed to the harms of the smoke because of third-hand smoking na tinatawag. And it happens because, the chemicals, the harmful chemicals coming from cigarette stays for quite a long time, no? Matagal-tagal siya. And even in areas, for example, na nag-aalaw ng smoking, for example, casinos, restaurants na may smoking areas, makikita mo, no? Nag-yellow yung walls, yung mga areas that supposedly filters the air are super black. So it's really it's still an exposure, and it's particularly harmful lalong-lalo na sa mga bata. If there are parents who are smoking, tas may baby ka, kunwari wala yung baby mo, pinasok mo sa kanyang crib or wherever na safe supposedly siya, and then nag-smoke ka dun sa area, sa sala for example, or sa kusina, and then nilaro mo yung baby mo dun sa sala at sa kusina, the baby is exposed to third-hand smoking. That's what you call third-hand smoking, and that's also what we want to avoid, why we want stricter regulation of these products and banning in use in public. Kasi nga, may third-hand smoke pa rin tayo.
Next naman, for our next theme, this one is called Ban Mo To. Let's Call a Friend.
Magandang araw po. Ito po yung tanong ko. Kung maipapatupad man ng smoking ban within university campuses, hindi naman ito ma-assure na matitigil ang mga students na mag-smoke. dahil they can easily do it after school outside of campus ground. Sa tingin niyo po ba, pushing this movement in the university could actually make a difference? Thank you po.
Yes, it's a resounding yes, because every little step that we do, that we prevent exposure of our youth, of our students from smoking, it also prevents from other users in accessing and being exposed to these products and in knowing that there are smoking. Kasi nga, una-una malakas ng peer pressure, malakas yung notion na it's a hip, in product, or parang madami daw good effects, which is hindi naman totoo. So if you ban it in schools, that's sort of promoting also a healthy environment within the schools. As I said a while ago, we have to promote good, healthy environment in our schools because that's where our students interact, they discuss, and they debate on things. And frankly, that also encourages them to think of giving importance on public health more than anything, more than their own personal choice na nakakaapekto ng masama sa iba. And it also brings the discussion into our homes. I mean, if you have the notion that smoking is banned in schools, at pwede pala yun, pwedeng i-ban, and then you start the discussion that it is banned because smoking is really harmful to your health. There's a notion called secondhand smoke and third-hand smoke. Then it might also go to our families. The discussion goes to our families, and it's an exponential effect in terms of doing public health advocacy because you start it from schools and then people get to adjust to it, and then maybe in my own home kung I'm exposed to smokers, maybe I could ask them because sayang naman yung protection ko sa school na hindi ako exposed sa smoke, but I'm exposed to smoke sa areas other than my school. My school, di ba? So it supposedly is an exponential approach in smoke-free environment. So it starts with smoke-free schools. Maybe when you get to work, you get to advocate for smoke-free environment in your workplace, di ba? Kasi gusto mo healthy ka. Na-save ka nga sa school kasi smoke-free school ka, but pag-graduate mo, doon ka naman sa workplace na maraming smokers and hindi fina-follow yung protocols or standards of that. So it starts with that. And I hope that students get to understand that and students get to appreciate how important public health is, how important is following the rules on preventing exposure to smoke.
Now, Attorney Ben, siguro just a follow-up question kasi diba, if you remember, I asked you kung meron ba kayo na-encounter na mga taong nag-disagree sa ganitong bagay. Because I think late last night, nung nakita ko yung script for this particular segment, I thought of researching, doing my fair share of research about is there even a debate about this? Kasi by the looks of it, it looks inherently good naman talaga to begin with. Why would there even be a debate to begin with? So I noticed na there were some essays na sabi na this is not a good idea to ban smoking in schools. It's not a good idea daw to ban it. And they presented two reasons. Number one would be students daw who smoke will likely spend less time on campus. And sabi nila, it avail themselves less frequently of campus dining options. So ang punto niya is basically, it leads to a reduction in university revenues and a less vigorous student presence on campus. Pangalawang binigay niyang reason is that since they're spending more time outside of campus premises, they will be exposed to more harmful hobbies or habits. Baka probably may lead to even drugs or kasi di ba sa mga kalsada natin yung mga ganyan, mga ganung activities. So with that, sir, siguro what are your thoughts sa ganung thinking, sa ganung line of thinking siguro ng nagsulat ng essay na ito?
Pakiusap po sa akin. Anyway, so my point is really the ban in smoking in school is really protecting the higher majority who are not smoking, right? So if you ban smoking, you tend to not expose other people from the harms of smoking. In terms of his or her concern that students would not spend more time in campuses, for one, I question the basis because that's his observation or her observation because maybe he's really intent in doing that he doesn't want to spend more time in school. But if you tend to analyze how students behave in school, if you have requirements, if you promote a healthy environment in your area, then people come in. There's an analogous situation which is proven, ito scientific talaga, hindi yung tipong inisip lang ng isang batang nag-essay, which I respect naman. Analogous situation in a local government, in Balanga, in Davao City, in Iloilo City, they have strict regulations on smoke-free environment. Ayaw talaga nilang smoking in public. And you know what? Sinabi ng industry, mawawalan kami ng customer. Sabi ng mga businesses, mawawalan kami ng customer, mawawalan kami ng revenues. Of course, kung walang customer, walang revenues. Maglilipatan sila sa iba. No, actually, those people who are not eating outside or who do not want to be exposed to a environment na maraming nag-smoke, they were the ones who supported the business. Mas maraming businesses ang nag-bloom because, as you can see, the large part of your population are health conscious, are not smokers, and they're the ones who are you're intending to entice to subscribe to your business or patronize your business in the same way that schools are, di ba? If students from other universities, for example, or from other places think that, that's a healthy university because it's a smoke-free university, it's not a question of revenue na because, healthy students would like to be in a healthy environment, diba? And that's a larger part of your population, diba? About 80% of your population, in and outside maybe, wanting to come in your university because you promote public health, you protect your student from smoke, and then that's a better business proposition, kaysa yung sinasabi ng essay na ganun. So that's just, I know smokers have their own personal interests, and I understand their interests, but the science is largely we want to protect the majority or non-smokers, and based on experience from local government units, it's a better business model to ban smoking in public places.
Alright, thank you so much for your valuable input, attorney. Siguro what I'll do is I'll send the link of that essay to the New Normal team para i-flash nila on screen at ma-expose yung sinagsurat ng joke lang. Anyway, now for our last and final theme of the day, this one is called I Don't Feel Good. Let's hear it from our last PUPN.
Kung ang isang long-time smoker ay mag-decide mag-quit, ano ang expected na side effects na mararamdaman nila at gaano ito kalala? Dapat din ba unti-unti ng withdrawal or advisable ba na mag-quit agad-agad?
Thank you for the question. Well, I'm not a medical professional, but based on our research and based on our understanding, because it also helps our policy development, there are different side effects in different persons. So I could not really pinpoint how it will affect you. As I said a while ago, pwede kang may mga chills, may withdrawal, nangingilo, nagsusuka, all those things. I mean, I might not be even correct on that matter, but there are side effects which you have to be ready to face when you quit. And you have to think that the side effects, wala na lang yan when you are moving into a better or healthier lifestyle, a healthier environment, which could enhance your quality of life. In terms of quitting, as I said a while ago, you quit cold turkey, that's the best process. I mean, yun pa rin yung recommended nila, biglaang pag-quit. And it's really deciding to quit. And I hope that you get to decide to quit. And if you need help, there are government hotlines which you can call. There's a national hotline which you can call. And there are even local government hotlines which you can call. And I hope they could assist you. Kung hindi ba rin, you can access us in Health Justice in our social media accounts and even our email accounts. You can email us and then we could refer you to a group or an institution that could help you quit. And I hope that you really decide to quit smoking to preserve your quality of life.
Yes, talagang there are plenty ways, just for you. It just need you to have that conscious decision to really quit smoking. And I think thank you for Attorney Ben. That wraps up our episode for today. I hope just like always, marami kayong mga natutunan dito sa New Normal 101. I hope din naging eye-opener ang episode natin ngayon, lalo na sa mga long-time smoker at mga newbies na rin dahil we are still experiencing a public emergency due to COVID-19. Kaya naman, napaka-importante na we take care of ourselves ngayon. Tama ba, Jeremiah?
Yes, I couldn't agree more, James. Dahil tulad nga ng mga diniscuss previously, napakaraming negative side effects ng tobacco smoking and e-cigarettes even sa ating kalusugan. Pati na rin sa ating mga kapaligiran and to the people who are surrounding us as well. Kaya naman, let's do ourselves a favor and those affected by second and third hand smoking, that is, let's stop this dangerous habit and set a good example for the years to come and for the next generations na may iwan natin. You know? Now, before we end this program, Attorney Ben, you mentioned kanina na to reach yung mga yung sa email, sa Facebook page, so on and so forth. So if this is the time, would you want to promote or share anything po sa ating mga kaiska, Attorney Ben?
Yes, there's a Philippine smoke-free movement that is a coalition of different advocacy groups promoting for smoke-free environment in the Philippines. That's different from the smoke-free campaign of the tobacco industry kasi they're trying to ride with our branding. But smoke-free environment really is protecting the public from second-hand and third-hand smoke. And we promote that in smoke-free environments in workplaces, schools, tourism destinations, and even in transport locations, terminals, airport terminals, bus terminals. In public places where at least 2 or more people converge, that we want to promote that during some of our activities and joining in our activities. That's the Philippine Smoke-Free Movement. You can check that out in our Facebook and other social media accounts. For health justice, we have continuing advocacy in terms of the strict regulation of e-cigarettes. Largely, we want to protect the youth and children from exposure to these products. This is uncharted territory. I mean, e-cigarettes and heated tobacco products. There are no massive or conclusive studies yet in terms of the specific harmful effects, but we all know that these are harmful products. And we want to strictly regulate these products. And samahan niyo po kami sa aming advocacy in terms of tobacco control, tobacco control that includes control and taxation and regulation of tobacco products and of course e-cigarette and heated tobacco products and other programs ng health justice. Just check us out in our Facebook and other social media accounts. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you. Nice meeting you, James and Jem. I hope that you get to join us in our advocacy. Thank you for this chance.
All right, James, take it away.
Yes, well, there you have it, mga kaisko at mga kaiska. Remember, there are still a lot of people suffering from COVID-19, and for those of you who smoke, think about those people who are fighting to survive while you guys are slowly killing yourselves intentionally just for a short-term stress relief and even boredom. Think about it, guys. Let's make smart decisions and push for a better future for all.
Thank you for that, James. And thank you. I don't think we can thank you enough, Attorney Ben Nisperos, for joining us for today's episode. Now, mga kaiska, I hope you guys enjoyed, and we will definitely be back for more interesting topics. And of course, matatagpuan lang yan dito sa New Normal 101. Dahil dito, modern tayo. Until next Friday, guys. See you next time.
Central Student Council nagbahagi ng SCO tips at COVID-19 essential kits sa mga mag-aaral. Nagbigay paalala at inspirasyon ng Central Student Council ng PUP Binyan sa kanilang Facebook post. Matapos ibahagi nito ang 10 mga SCO tips o payo upang mapanatiling aktibo ang mag-aaral sa panahon ng pandemya. Kasabay ng pagtatapos ng academic year 2020-2021, nais ng konseho na gisingin ang diwa ng mga estudyante at patuloy nitong bigyang pag-asa ang sarili na tumuklas sa kabila ng balakid na nararanasan nito sa online classes at modular learning.
So these SCOTIPs will help us to think of idea on how are we going to cope or how are we going to adapt a college life. So yung SCOTIPs is nakakatulong sa amin to be aware, to be prepared kung ano nga ba yung mga dapat at hindi namin dapat gawin, kung ano nga ba yung mga dapat naming paghandaan, kung paano nga ba kami ma-ready as a college students.
Samantala, patuloy pa rin ang pagtanggap at pamamahagi ng Central Student Council ng PUP Binyan ng mga donasyon gaya ng face shield, alcohol at face mask para sa ipinamimigay nitong COVID-19 essential kits na magpapanatili sa kaligtasan ng mga on-site working students ng kanilang universidad. Para sa mga nais magpaabot ng kanilang tulong at donasyon upang patuloy na maisakatuparan ng proyektong ito para sa mag-aaral ng PUP Binyan, makipag-ugnayan lamang sa official Facebook page ng CSC PUP Binyan. At yan ang balita sa mga oras na ito. Ako si Joanna Luna para sa The Observer Flash Online.